Nepal is hungry for change, and Balen has become a symbol of that frustration. Young, blunt, and willing to confront problems many leaders ignored. But symbols don't run, governments, institutions do. A Prime Minister in Nepal's parliamentary system must command, support, and lead the federal executive through a council of ministers. The constitution makes that cabinet collectively responsible for governing, not one individual acting alone. And as Sethupathi reported on January 19, 2026, Balen began campaigning for Prime Minister a day after resigning as Mayor of Kathmandu's metropolis. So the stakes are now national, not municipal. First, rule of law and institutional respect. In June 2023, after the Kathmandu Metropolis announced a ban on Indian film screenings, Patan High Court issued an interim order directing authorities not to stop films approved by Nepal's censor board. The Kathmandu Post reported on June 22, 2023 that Balen publicly challenged the court order and said he would not abide by it, framing the issue as sovereignty. Criticizing a verdict is legitimate in a democracy. Treating compliance as optional is not the mindset of a constitutional prime minister. Second, government's record and policy delivery under complexity. Sethupathi reported on April 10, 2023 that Balen halted garbage collection from Singh Darbar while blaming federal non-cooperation, and that other elected representatives in the metropolis learned about the decision only after his social media post. Governing by surprise announcements might feel tough, but at the federal level it can quickly become dysfunction. Meanwhile, Kathmandu's waste problem did not become stable. The Kathmandu Post reported on November 22, 2025 that blockades at the Bansare Dada landfill recur and can hold collection when promised commitments remain unfulfilled or disputes escalate. Third, human rights and inclusion risks from enforcement. Human Rights Watch reported on December 14, 2022 that municipal campaigns in Kathmandu mistreated vulnerable urban poor, including street vendors and landless people, and failed to provide adequate alternatives for livelihoods or housing. The Kathmandu Post reported on March 4, 2024 that rights activists condemned a Sundara incident in which vendors were injured during a baton charge. Even if public space management matters, a Prime Minister must protect rights and livelihood, especially in a country where informal work is a survival strategy for many families. Fourth, leadership, readiness, realism, and integrity signals. Sethupathi reported on January 25, 2026 that Balen refused a public debate among prime ministerial candidates. In a parliamentary system, refusing scrutiny is a leadership signal, not a small campaign choice. Policy realism also matters. Sethupathi highlighted his pledge of 10 million tourists for Janakpur, while Rising Nepal Daily reported on January 3, 2025, citing Nepal Tourism Board data that Nepal received about 11,47,556 tourists in all of 2024. These numbers do not make ambition wrong, but they show why a Prime Minister must distinguish aspirational rhetoric from national strategy. Integrity and financial controls also must be evaluated carefully without defamation. Kathmandu's financial year 2079-80 final audit report recorded Rs 1.18 billion in Beruju and an updated Beruju balance of about Rs 2.99 billion. These figures do not prove corruption, but they do reflect serious government problem challenges that demand transparent resolution. Additionally, Republica reported on June 12, 2025 that a complaint was filed at the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority alleging a roughly Rs 10 million left procurement without competitive tender as of the public reporting available here. The final outcome was not confirmed. A Prime Minister should not bring fear unresolved questions, not more. So here's the civic ask. Before choosing any Prime Minister, Balen included demand debates, data-backed national plans, transparent procurement, and a consistent commitment to the rule of law. Nepal deserves reform that lasts. आजको लागि यति नै. I'm Pratik and you're watching The Exposure. Joy Nepal.
यस्तो खालको रोग थाहा छैन कुराले हाम्रो बिजोग भएको बाहिर हाँसी हिँडे पनि